In Step with Saints Patrick and Gregory of Tours, a homily by Father Seraphim Rose of Platina. Given on St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 1977, to monks and pilgrims at the St. Herman of Alaska Monastery. 1. A perspective on St. Patrick. The Confession of St. Patrick is a very simple document about how he planned to serve God and a few of the trials and sufferings he went through. From what St. Patrick writes, we see that in his lifetime he did not have the universal glory that surrounds him today. He apparently did miracles, and many people had great respect for him, but he still had difficulties with bishops and church people, and there was controversy over whether he was doing things the way he should be doing them. This shows us that even those who later become quite glorious have to go through, in their own lifetimes, the same struggles that each one of us must go through, and it's not seen until the end whether a person even saves his soul. It is extremely important that we look at St. Patrick, not from the point of view of glory in the eyes of men, but as he is, that is, spiritually, his spiritual worth. It is of absolutely no significance that today everybody wears green on his day. When I was going to school, you had to do something to anyone who didn't wear green, tie him up or something. It was obvious that those who did this had no idea of what St. Patrick meant, or what kind of Orthodox saint he was. It was just that the general opinion had been formed in society that he was very important. Gradually, he is deprived of all religious meaning, and in the end, the honoring of his memory becomes something close to superstition, some kind of a totally meaningless ritual. Of course, that is not what we should look at St. Patrick for. He was a burning apostle of Christ, and because he was close to God and because God chose him, he was able to convert the whole of Ireland's people. All of us are very inspired by lives like his, and this makes one want to do something oneself. What can one do? The inexperienced convert gets the idea, "Oh, I'll go to Ireland and do something." Of course, it will not work out. It will not be like St. Patrick, because it could only be done once. In a small way, it is possible to imitate him, but in general, such literal imitations do not work out. We should look to lives like that of St. Patrick for some kind of inspiration or guidance as to what we can do ourselves in our own conditions. What is realistic? What can we do to be burning with the same apostleship in the conditions we have today? We look around and we see that there does not seem to be too much of inspiring phenomenon of St. Patrick's era. Whole countries being converted, great monastic revivals, great movements towards orthodoxy. On the contrary, we look around and see things which may very easily make us discouraged. One asks why there are no great apostles like St. Patrick today. Of course, it is very realistic historically. There was an age of apostles. There was an age when whole peoples were unconverted and apostles were sent out to them. Today, virtually the whole world has heard about Christ, and there are very few totally pagan peoples left who are not getting the word preached to them. In Africa, as we continue to hear, the Orthodox gospel is being preached to those wild tribes from one country to the next in East and Central Africa. But in most places, the peoples of the world have become rather weary, tired, worn-out people who once heard of Christianity and have now got bored with it. It is very difficult to inspire oneself with that. Here and there are a few converts who find that Christianity is something fresh, that it is not the same as the ordinary idea of it. Nevertheless, not too much is very inspiring when you look around the world from the point of view of orthodoxy.